It's really great to see everyone today. But I really appreciate everyone coming. Let's first give Christiana Care a big round of applause for hosting us today. I want to also give my county staff a big shout out for the weather today. You did a great job with the weather. Thank you. A lot of elected officials, dignitaries, representatives of elected officials here. Is Bonnie Wu here from Carper's office? Senator Coon's office. Newport Mayor Michael Spencer is here. Thanks for coming. Newcastle City, an avid council president and avid biker, Linda Ratchford is here. Thank you. State representative and avid biker Paul Baumbach is here. Representing State Senator David Sokola, Taylor Hawk is here. Thank you. I know Senator Sokola really wanted to be here today. He could not be here today. I went up to him at TrailFest. I said, hey, I have a great idea. Let's ride down to Dover together during the next legislative session. It's this great new idea. He's like, yeah, great. I ride, about once a week down. So, tell me what day you want to come with me. Councilman John Cartier is here. Councilman Cartier, thank you. Chrissy Roberts, representing Councilman Woods, I believe is here. Thank you for coming today. Any other elected officials that I skipped? This is usually the part of the program where I get in a lot of trouble. Representative Bike Delaware, James Wilson is here. So he's the first person I ever saw biking on Commons Boulevard behind me. Mary Roth, Executive Director of Delaware Greenways, and Gary Lenarducci of Delaware Greenways, Board President is here. You're going to be hearing from Gary shortly. Is Daniel Pascal from Delaware Greenways? Thank you. East Coast Greenways, sorry. Thank you for coming today. Anyone here from Deladon? Deladon Associates, I know is heavily invested in this. Thomas Harvey from Harvey Hanna. Thanks. Good to see you. Rick Schulte from Discover Card, right across the street there. I don't know if Rick made it. Other very, very important stakeholders who've played a role in what we're talking about today. Tigist Zagaye from Executive Director of Wilmapco is here. I saw Jennifer Kamesh. I don't know if Paul's here, but Jennifer Kamesh from the Committee 100. Thank you for coming today, Jennifer. From the state government, which obviously is a very strong partner, Anthony Aglio from DelDOT is here. Thank you, Anthony, for being here. Kevin Donnelly from the Newcastle Conservation District, DENREC. Hey, thank you, Kevin, for coming. And then just about I have this kind of rule that I never like my whole staff to come some, but just about my whole staff came out for this today because it's really important to us and to the community. I'm just going to say them real quick. Chief Administrative Officer Vanessa Phillips, Andrea Allman, Chief of Staff, Jason Miller, Communications Director, Jessica Gibson, who's in Communications, Kyle, who's in Communication, Brian Boyle, who is a Senior Policy Advisor, I think. Oh, and Kendall Summers is here as well, who's our park planner. Oh, and Stacy from land use as well. So thank you, Stacy. I don't know if Stacy's last name. Thank you, Stacy, for being here. So we're here today to expand on a vision that those before us and many here today have worked very hard on. And our vision is all about connecting communities. Connecting communities is vital to our future here in the county. And today we take walkable, bikeable Delaware in Newcastle County into a new gear. It's a new gear that's going to enable residents across this county to see the same old communities that they know and love in brand new ways. You know, when I was a kid, I lived right off Shipley Road, and I learned how to ride a bike. And the reason I learned how to ride a bike is because there was a 7-Eleven that was about a mile away, right across from Brandywine Racetrack. And I spent a lot of time at the old Shipley School sitting, looking out the window, wondering how many minutes I got out of school so I could jump on my bike and get down to 7-Eleven. I rode usually along the sidewalk. And what I hear too often now from our residents is that they don't feel like it's safe for their kids to go outside and ride. They understand that maybe they'd save some money, maybe it would be healthier, maybe it would even be faster for them to bike or walk to work. But they don't always want to do it because it's not necessarily safe. They're scared. And I understand that. And today is about trying to make a safer, healthier, and more connected communities. All sorts of studies that I know people here today could point out tell us that safer and healthier communities are also wealthier communities. You know, one thing I do just about every week here is I talk to existing employers and potential employers in the state of Delaware. Just since coming into office, I've spoken to Amazon, interested in putting 50,000, high-income jobs somewhere in the country. Last week, I was talking to a large European manufacturer that's interested in putting their first American manufacturer right here in Newcastle County. I speak, several times a week with employers. I was visiting one this morning looking to expand in the county. Just last week, we were with 3 startup companies, including D150 out of the University of Delaware, looking to start their company and grow their company right here in Delaware, right here in Newcastle County. Every single one of them wants to know about tax rates, and they want to know about the price of real estate. But they also want to know about quality of life. They want to know, are there different ways to get to work? Are there open spaces for our employees to enjoy themselves in? They're asking for themselves very often, but they're also asking for their employees. They need that to attract talent. The University of Delaware did a study not too long ago that showed that those living within 50 meters, those properties within 50 meters of safe, bikeable, walkable pathways, on average had their property values were $8,800 more than comparable property values. So these things add wealth to our community. It's really interesting. I got trailer count data yesterday for the first time. Trail count data from the Markell Trail. Over the summer, shortly after we opened it, kind of had an internal opening, we were getting, on average, per week, 2,195 counts. 2,195 count. In the first 3 weeks of September, the average count was 3,189. 3,189. Then there was Trail Fest. At Trail Fest that single day, there were about 4,200 counts. And then in the 7 days after Trail Fest, there were 5,007 counts hit on the bridge. The number is increasing, and it's increasing rapidly. And when I got that number, I said, wait, 5,007? Well, it's counting some people twice because they're going up and back. But I'm like, there are only 560,000 people who live in this county, right? So what percent of the people living in the county have already used this thing? And you say, well, it's not just people in the county using it. People are coming from outside. And if you look at some of the stuff going on social media, East Coast Greenways, you understand that when you do more and more of this stuff, it's not just good for attracting jobs, right? It's not just good for wellness and health in the community. It also becomes a destination. People take new pride in their community when it becomes a destination. What is your name? I was talking to you a few minutes ago. What is your name? Dave Munyon lives in Wilmington Manor. He lives in Wilmington Manor. And my folks from Public Works will tell you, our greatest worry about this trail is we got to maintain it. That's kind of how it goes in county government. Everybody builds it, and we got to figure out how do we get the resources to maintain it. And we're working on that. But Dave has already gone out several times with his own leaf blower and just cleared the trail off. And so when people take pride in our open spaces, in our parks, in our pathways, that's something we can all be proud of. This is a super, super collaborative effort. We're keeping property taxes low, and through the resources we have, we don't have all the resources to do the feasibility studies and build out the 12 trails that we're talking about today. Will Mapco is a vitally important partner, and everything we're doing today, we made sure it's within the context of their plan and their planning process. It's very important. We make a plan as a community, and then we work as a community to execute that plan. Obviously, DelDOT, and in particular the Delaware Bike Council, is a critical partner. Of these 12 trails we're talking about today, 3 of them we've already got a start on. One of them I'll talk about, the Augustine Cutoff Trail. That feasibility study, which is already underway, would not have happened without the partnership, the vital partnership of the Delaware Bike Council. 2 other trails that are underway, I'm going to leave it to others to talk about. One of them is the Commons Blvd connector, or I call it the Christiana to Christiana connector, because it creates Christiana Hospital in Wilmington to where you're standing right now to Christiana, the big Christiana Hospital out on Churchman's Road. And that as well has been a major partnership with Delaware Greenways. The William Penn Foundation, which has made some investment in our community before, is now really stepping up, based in Philadelphia, making serious investments in our community. Bike Delaware, of course, always has a seat at the table and is an advocate in setting out our priorities as a community and figuring out how to maintain these for the long term. And it's important also to highlight the private sector. I don't think when we've talked to private employers, we've had a single private employer push back, whether it's Delmarva, whether it's here at Christiana Care, Discover Bank. I know Jennifer's here from the Committee of 100, and they've been a strong advocate because we're doing what employers want. Why don't I just close and let some others speak by saying this. You know, as I was thinking this morning, generations ago, rails and roads were built to connect the states and cities of our country together. Vitally important infrastructure that obviously so many of us rely on today. More and more in the 21st century, what we're doing is we're building bike paths that don't necessarily connect states and cities, but they connect our communities together. And they make our communities stronger, and it's something that we're gonna do, and we're gonna do starting today in a higher gear. So without further ado, let me introduce to you, some of our strongest partners in this effort, and that's Delaware Greenways, supported today by their board president, Gary Lenarducci.
Good afternoon. As Matt said, I'm Gary Lenarducci. I'm board president of Delaware Greenways. As part of our mission to connect everyone to where they want to go, Delaware Greenways is focused on developing new trails and increasing the number of people who use them. We're pleased to present a check today to Newcastle County in the amount of $30,000 to support the Commons Blvd Pathway Feasibility Study. Funding for this study is part of a grant for our Future Trails of Delaware, of Northern Delaware project, made possible by the William Penn Foundation. Following a successful planning grant in 2016, Delaware Greenways received additional funding from the William Penn Foundation to advance trail development in northern Delaware, particularly connecting the circuit trails and waterways in the Delaware River watershed. The project calls for the strengthening and growing of the Future Trails of Northern Delaware Trail Coalition, which was formed last year and which is made up of civic organizations, corporations, hiking and biking clubs, and other nonprofits. The grant also calls for engaging with communities to assist them in developing trail, bicycle, and pedestrian programs. Most importantly, funding for the grant will enable Delaware Greenways to work on specific trail projects, moving them forward in the trail development process, continuing our organization's leadership role in working with all levels of government, as well as foundations, private corporations, and civic organizations to develop trail funding plans that leverage public, private, and foundation funding to build more trails faster. We're especially excited about the Commons Blvd pathways that will connect thousands to the just completed Markell Trail, providing a continuous paved bicycle and pedestrian connection to Wilmington and Newcastle. Ultimately, this will further connect to the Christiana Hospital, the area's largest employer, and to the East Coast Greenway. We're proud to participate with Newcastle County, the Future Trails of Northern Delaware Coalition, and the entire trails and pathways community to build a network of trails and pathways for recreation and transportation, making for a more connected, engaged, and healthier Delaware. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next up. Next up with another exciting announcement, I'm told. I don't know what it is, but I'm told it's exciting. James, how's that for an intro? James Wilson, Executive Director of Bike Delaware and member of the Delaware Bike Council.
So I did not bring a blow up of a giant check because it was only yesterday evening at about 6 o'clock that the Delaware Bicycle Council voted unanimously to award a $20,000 grant to the town of, Mayor Spencer, where are you, Mayor Spencer? To the town of Newport for the Newport River Trail. So the other trail that you just heard about that the William Penn Foundation with Delaware Greenway's strong support is making happen brings a connection over here to all of these businesses. You've got about 10,000 jobs over there. So I'm not going to say that the Newport River Trail is even better than that, but I'm going to do my very best to say that it's in the same category. So obviously Newport is one of our historic cities, and the General Motors Boxwood plan is something that we wanted to see redevelopment for. There are a lot of exciting ideas about redevelopment in Newport. This is, as Matt said, a part of a bigger economic development vision for Newport. And I just want to emphasize again what Matt said, that we really are talking not just about a cleaner environment, not just about better recreation, not just about better public health. We are also talking about economic development. And there's one angle to that our county executive did not mention. So it's absolutely true that these are the kinds of communities that attract employers, that high-skilled workers want to live in. They want to live in places where you have a high quality of life. But there's another angle to economic development that's really important. Very few people seem to understand this. Even when we tell them, they just don't believe it. Transportation is the second largest household expense in America and in Delaware. It's more expensive than education. It's more expensive than healthcare. It's more expensive than everything else that households spend money on except for housing. About $9,000, it costs about $9,000 on average to own, fuel, insure, and maintain your own personal vehicle. Now, is there anybody here, seriously, raise your hand. Does anybody here not own a car? There's one guy over there who doesn't own a car.
Give him a round of applause.
Daniel, is that primarily like an economic decision, or do you have other reasons that you don't own a car?
All of the above.
Yeah. So for a lot of people, for most of the people who would benefit from not owning a car, it's not about saving the environment, right? It's an urgent economic need, right? I mean, as you go down the income scale, it gets harder and harder and harder and harder to have to own your own personal vehicle. If you're a student, if you're a recent graduate, if you're on a fixed income, if you've lost your job, all kinds of things make it so that people during the recession, people gave up their homes and kept their cars. That's the kind of situation we have gotten ourselves into in America. So that's the sort of kind of the moral reason why we should want to create communities where it's easier for people who need to not own a car to not own a car. But there's a really important economic development angle as well, which is that we don't make any cars anymore in Delaware. We don't manufacture any more cars. We don't drill for any oil. All of the money that folks in Delaware spend on transportation, almost all of it leaves the Delaware economy. On the other hand, if we started creating households in Delaware going forward over the next few decades, where you had people who instead of sending all that money outside of the state, we're spending it locally in their own communities. That's a permanent economic catalyst and driver for our communities that successfully make it possible to live in those communities without a car. It is a major economic development opportunity that's just lying there ready for us to pick up. So as we spend these very small amounts of money, and I'll say one other thing, these are very small amounts of money. Think of them as like venture capital seed money. These are small amounts of money that allow us to investigate really good ideas and see if they've got merit to them, and then we'll put more, when we find out they're meritorious, we'll put more money into them and make this infrastructure. We have an opportunity to rev up Delaware's economy in a really powerful way. Thank you.
Thank you, James, and the Delaware Bike Council. That's a big step forward. Next, we have our host, the Wellness Program Coordinator here at Christiana Care Health System, Danielle Kuhn.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danielle Kuhn. I'm the Wellness Coordinator for Christiana Care, and we are honored to host this news conference today and to partner with Newcastle County on healthy initiatives to build a healthy community. At Christiana Care, we're committed to building a culture of health on site and also in our community. We want to help everyone that we serve to achieve optimal health, and that includes our 12,000 caregivers. We support employees on their journey to embrace the 4 pillars of wellness: psychologically fit, nutritionally fit, financially fit, and physically fit. As far as being physically fit, we strive to be a leader in our community in helping our employees live active, healthy lifestyles. We have free employee fitness centers on site that have group exercise classes, that have classes such as step aerobics, Tai Chi, and yoga. Trails that make it convenient and even enjoyable to walk, jog, bike, or even rollerblade are important components of a healthy community. At our hospital campuses, we've created both indoor and outdoor trails, some nearly as long as 2.4 miles. We know that when we commit to be fit, we can better serve our patients. We're grateful that Newcastle County Executive Matt Meyer shares this commitment to fitness. We welcome continued investment in infrastructure to support a healthy workplace and a healthy community. Thank you.
Finally, we have one of our strongest partners, private sector partners in this effort, Harvey Hanna Associates. Thomas Harvey is here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to County Executive, to DelDOT, Newcastle County, everybody, all the advocates here today for having us. We're really, really excited to be part of this program. My name's Thomas Harvey. I'm from Harvey Hanna Associates. We are a family-owned and operated real estate company based out of Newport, for those of you who don't know us. The Trail and Pathway Initiative, from our perspective, is a critical component to our local economy, and it strengthens our lifestyle amenities and the quality of life here in Newcastle County. From the perspective of the real estate community, creating a robust multimodal transportation infrastructure is a key driver to economic development and job creation. It's planning for the future. Shared use of transportation, including cars, but also bikes, rail, busing, and pedestrian infrastructure, is driving real estate investment and economic development. Towns are competing on a regional basis to attract a young, talented workforce, and this workforce is increasingly seeking opportunities to get out of their car, to walk, bike, to take other transit methods. The businesses we interact with on a daily basis, they're all placing significant value on the transportation options available to their employee base. It used to be that cost was their biggest priority in deciding where to locate. How much is the rent? How much parking will we need? What are the taxes like? But now these businesses are demanding lifestyle amenities and multimodal transportation opportunities for their employee base. They want to see that people will be attracted to the community, that people have options to get to work without needing to own a car, and that public transportation options exist. The Connecting Communities initiative is a natural tie-in to some of the future developments taking shape in the greater Newport area right now, including the redevelopment of the former General Motors plant on Boxwood Road, as well as our planned downtown Newport redevelopment. The success of projects like a Newport SEPTA, the Commons Blvd Trail Connector, the Jack Markell Trail, and the newly announced, thank you, Newport Trail along the Christina River. All of these are critical in driving the success of what we're trying to accomplish. So we welcome these really important public-private partnerships and are honored to be here and included in the process and this vision for Newcastle County. Thank you, guys.
Let me just add about that last, the Newport Trail that now I guess has a feasibility study paid for that we'll be moving forward with. The first, I know it's been in the works within Harvey Hanna for years. The first time I heard about it was shortly after you guys bought Boxwood, and TJ Hanna came in to meet us. And normally when you talk to someone who just bought a property in Newcastle County and they're coming in to meet, they make all sorts of land use demands. And what TJ said is, we're going to turn Newport into Manayunk. I said, what? He said, we're going, Manayunk outside Philly. He's like, Newport is the next Manayunk. And I shared that with Senator Coons the other day. I said, what do you think if we, work to get federal resources to turn Newport into the next Manayunk? And he kind of looked at me, he said, Matt, I would say you're crazy, but it sounds awful familiar. About 20 years ago, a guy named Mike Perzicki showed me a plan. There was this place along the riverfront where there was some old worn out nightclub and not much else going on. And he showed me a plan to build out the riverfront, and we have what we have now. So you guys are dreaming big. A lot of people here are dreaming big, and I want you to know that today we're taking that into a new gear to move this forward. So thank you very much for coming.